If you look at your Revit model as a database, as a place that stores a lot of information, schedules are one of the methods to make this information visible. Let's try to create a schedule that would be a simplified bill of materials for the design we just created. To create a new schedule, you can, in the project browser, right-click on the branch schedules/quantities and click New Schedule. I'm going to pick the first option, multi-category for now. And what I have in this window now is on the left side, I have different parameters from my model. Those parameters are shared between different families. So let me push a few parameters to be scheduled. So for example, category, family, type, and count. And I'm gonna for now just click OK. And this is what I have from such settings. It is a table that shows us all elements in our model. For example, if I click on any row here and on the ribbon, in the contextual tab, modify schedules/quantities, in the element panel, click highlight in model. It takes me directly to the element that is being scheduled. For example, right now, this is a pipe segment. So a few things I might want to change the schedule if I would like this to represent my bill of materials. First of all, I'm gonna click any of those edit buttons, which opens this window of schedule properties. I'll go to sorting and grouping and uncheck itemize every instance. Go there again and sort by family and by type. Okay, so now for example, what I read from this schedule is that I have 5 manifolds, Vario SFM, with 2 loops. I also have 20 adapters for our manifolds. But there are some things here that maybe I also don't want to see. For example, piping systems are scheduled even though they're not a product that we could order from Ubonor. So to get this information out of schedule, I'm going to go to filter, pick category, does not equal piping systems. Okay, now it looks a little better. However, another problem they see here is that, for example, this row represents pipe segments. As you can see, all the pipe segments light up in blue when I pick this row. When it comes to pipe segments, we are not really interested in how many pipe segments have been modeled in Revit. What we are interested in is the total length of the pipes in the model. So again, I can go to my filters and exclude pipes. Same with pipe fittings. If these were actual pipe fittings, like Q&E elbow, for example, then I would leave them here. But I know that what Revit sees here as pipe fitting is a pipe bend. So this is in fact a part of the same coil. So in this case, I also want to need this information. And this is a very simplified bill of materials that shows us how many manifolds and adapters we should purchase. Now let's see if we can see what is the total length of the pipes in the model. So again, I'm going to go to schedules, new schedule, and this time I'm going to pick category pipes. So now again, I have all pipe segments here. And again, I am not exactly interested in the length of singular pipe segments. What I want to know is what is the total length of the pipe in the model. Because each of my pipe segment has different length, that's why here I see the value varies. So I need to go again to my schedule properties, click on length, and here pick calculate totals. And now this shows me the full length of all the pipe segments. Maybe I can make it a little more easy to read. And there, full length of our pipe segments. However, there's still a mistake here because, like I just told you, Revit doesn't count for these pipe bends. And we as users know that this is the part of the same element. Here, actually, I want to show you the functionality of our plugin. If you go to Open or BIM, Bill of Materials panel, and click RVT Schedules, it creates 3 schedules in our model that work as a full bill of materials. And let me show you here. Now, if I pick this row and click Highlight and Model, as you can see, it picks both pipe segments and pipe bends. So this is something that was achieved thanks to some additional functionality that we could have programmed to the plugin. If you were just to use Revit, you can still achieve this result, but you would have to use Dynamo, which is a visual programming tool that lets you access API of Revit. 2 other schedules that are being created are for fittings, accessories, manifolds. So again, we can see from here that it shows us those manifolds that we need, and custom fittings, so adapters for our manifolds. As you can see, there are multiple options for possible accessory, and these elements have to be chosen by designer locally. So I definitely recommend for bill of materials to use the functionality of our plugin. If you want to put a schedule on the sheet, you do it just like we did with the view. You just pull it and put it on your sheet. And schedules are the only types of views that can be used on multiple sheets, and you don't have to copy them if you want to place them somewhere else. If you would like to export only schedule to Excel file, you can go to File, Export, scroll down, Reports, Schedule. And from here you can save it wherever you want. Just remember it is being saved as a CSV file. So when you open it from Excel, you're gonna have to do some small additions. Now let's try to annotate our drawings. You have a whole lot of tools in your Annotate tab to do that. The most common one is, of course, Dimension tool. So for example, let's see the distance between those pipes. From here, you can pick different kinds of dimensions. If I had a sloped pipe, I could, for example, use spot slope. Can always change how our annotations look like if we go to properties and the type. For example, here, let's say I want to use different units. In our sections, I could, for example, use spot elevation. Another important annotation is tag. Tagging by category allows us to click on an element and tag it with a tag specific to category of that element. If there's nothing loaded, you have to load one. For example, this is the tag that I created specifically for this course, just to show you how tags work. So what tags are doing, they are pulling data from specific parameters of a family. So if I click on this tag and go to edit family, this opens another file, RFA file, so Revit family, and click on this, click edit label, and you can see that this tag pulls information from parameters, family name and type name. So on the left side, you can see different parameters, which values you can place in the tag. So again, we're choosing parameters and we're displaying their values. I'm going to click break here so that this tag shows up in another row. For example, there's a bit too much information, so I'm going to undo this, but that's how it works. Let's try to tag a pipe. Again, I have to load tag specific for this category. And here I see the value of the parameter elevation. Actually, let's investigate exactly what parameter we're seeing here. Start middle elevation is the parameter we're seeing here. If I would also like to, for example, see diameter of this pipe, again, I have to add it here, click OK, load the project. Make sure that I pick the correct one, not 60 millimeters. To make it easier for a person who reads the drawings, we can add some information in our tag. Example, if I would like to tag multiple elements at once, I can pick the one I'm interested in. Let's say I want to tag all the manifolds. Annotate tab, tag all. And here I can say only selected objects in the current view. And now this tag shows up next to all my manifolds. Can potentially move them. What I forgot to do here is to add a leader line. So let me try this again. Maybe I can filter it out first. And now it looks better. If you're happy with the way that your sheet looks like, we can export it to PDF or DWG. First, let's try PDF. So starting from the version Revit 2022, it has its own native printer, because what happened before this version was that we would click Ctrl P and we could use the outside printers from our system. Now, we can still do that, but we can also use a native function for it. Click here, export PDF, it opens this window. Here I can use my sheet size. Before I would have to pick specific size from outside printers. I keep these options as it is. First, I'm gonna pick a location for my file. Change the file name. Export. As you can see, it properly exported our file. And because I had the option checked to hide scope boxes and crop boundaries, I don't see my viewport boundaries. As you can see, it has proper size, A0. Now, to export this drawing into DWG, again, we click File, Export, CAD Formats, DWG. And here is one thing you have to pay attention to. If you check this option, Export Views on Sheets and Links as External References, right now we have 3 views on the sheet, which means that it will in total create 4 DWG files. It'll create one file with the title block and 3 xref links, and then one DWG file for each of those views, each of those xrefs. So I prefer to have this unchecked, to have everything in one DWG file, but this is a personal preference. As you can see, the title block is the part of our layout space, and our drawings are part of model space. They're kind of randomly scattered here. Another thing that's important here is that this 3D view has been turned into a 2D drawing. This happens when you export from the sheet. If I would export this view from the 3D view, then it will be exported as a 3D geometry. The linked file has been exported as a block. Dimensions are still dimensions. The other elements that come from the active model have retained a small amount of data from Revit. For example, information about their category is hinted at in the name of the layer. In this Revit template, the name of the layer to which an element is exported to is controlled by these custom settings. And here they have been changed to be specific to our OpenWorld template. by default, the name of these layers would be different.